Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we'll discuss about networks lecture 1. Today the topics for discussion is how to know about linear, bilateral, active, passive networks by looking into the graphs, and series and parallel circuits, basically RLC star delta, same RLC relations among various elements like voltage, current, resistor, flux, capacitor, charge, etc. Some golden statements which will be used to solve networks equations mainly in case of DC and theorems. So, bilateral, if an element, we are talking about an element, if an element is bilateral, then the graph of that element, the VI characteristic, we can say it is a VI characteristics of that element, in which 1 is equal to 3, 2 is equal to 4. Under these circumstances, we can say that the element is bilateral. One of the example of bilateral element which is generally we all know is triac, which comes in power electronics, which is SCRs connected anti-parallel to each other. These we will discuss in power electronic lectures, but as of now 1 equal to 3 and 2 equal to 4 is called bilateral, others are unilateral. And coming to passive and active, if the slope of the element is positive and negative, positive we call as passive network and negative we call as active network. And what is the meaning of positive and negative here? See, we know that power is equal to V into I, right? So in the first quadrant and in the fourth quadrant, not fourth, third quadrant, it is minus I and minus V. Third quadrant, the product of V and I is positive. The positive in the sense power is being taken by the element, it is the element, and power is equal to negative in the sense power is being delivered. And you people are confusing about what exactly the power is. It is whether it is active power, passive power, reactive power, and all these things. Forget about these things right now. It is just average power, and P indicates active power only, which is true in the case of AC and DC both. True in the case of AC and DC both. So if the slope is positive, means which is positive in first and third quadrant, it is active element, and slope is negative, then it is a passive element, right? Yes. And so we have dealt with bilateral, active, passive we have seen. So what is the linearity? So linear element, in linear element, the amount of current or amount of voltage is proportional to the amount of voltage applied, kinds of current proportional in terms of current applied. If this relation satisfies, element is linear. And you can say what is non-linear element, like say for example, now we'll deal with some examples. Say, let us take next step. Coming to this, so coming to this element, it is non-linear. Active or passive? Active or passive? Yes, your guess is correct. It is active. Why? Because it is in the second and fourth quadrant, in which V is positive, I is negative, and here I is positive, V is negative, product is P negative. Bilateral or unilateral? Bilateral, since both 2 and 4 are same, right? Yes. And we'll solve one more question. The static VI characteristics, please comment about the graph. One is option 1, linear, passive, bilateral. Option 2, linear, active, bilateral. Option 3, non-linear, active, unilateral. Option 4, non-linear, passive, unilateral. Here you can see that the relation satisfies V equal to I up to certain limit, but after that V is not proportional to I, it is became constant. So this element is overall non-linear. So option 1 and 2 are wrong. Now we will see, since it is non-linear. Now we can see act 2 or passive. Since it is in first and third quadrant, it is passive. Done. Even though we got the answer, let us check about unilateral, bilateral. So it is bilateral. Yes, option 4 is right. So now you can differentiate whether the element is linear, bilateral, active or passive. I will give one small example test. Please mention the answer in the comment section. The characteristic of a diode. The characteristic of a diode. We all know that characteristic of diode, whether it is linear or non-linear, active or passive, unilateral, bilateral. For your sake, I will draw the characteristics. It is like this. Cutoff point. And like this. So comment the answer in the comment the answer in the comment section. And now we'll see about series parallel circuits. Series parallel circuits, it is we all know that very easy. If two resistors are connected in series, two capacitors are connected in series, two inductors are connected in series. Same as the case with parallel. Here R1 plus R2 is totally equal resistance. Here L1 plus L2. Here it is reverse. 1 by C equivalent is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. The basic thumb rule is R, the formulas for R are same as L, and in case of C, just use reciprocal. So here R equivalent is equal to R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. Not here L1 L2 by L1 plus L2, here C1 plus C2. Done. Now coming to third topic, relations. So coming to relations, we all know that V is equal to R into I, Q is equal to C into V, right? Flux is equal to L into I. It are the relations. And energy stored in capacitor is equal to half CV square. Energy stored in inductor is equal to half Li square, right? And formula for calculation of inductor is equal to mu A n square by L, where A is area, n is number of turns, L is length of the core, mu is permeability. It is like if we have a rod and we have a number of turns on it, so they will give the area of cross section A, they will mention number of turns n, they will give the length L, and they will say the permeability of material used. Then you can calculate L, right? Yes. Now we will deal with star delta. We all know that star delta is, right now I am dealing with very basics, which is very basics. Slowly and steadily we will go to the difficult ones. So it is a star network, and we wanted to convert the star into delta and delta to star. So now converting delta to star. So the element RA, now let us call this as R1 and R2 and R3. The element RA is equal to, the basic thumb rule is the element which it is connected, multiply the both to R1 R2 by R plus R2 plus R3, same as for the other two elements. Now we want RA, RB, RC. So now we want this element, right? This element, say it is R1. So R1 is equal to, is connected to RA and RC, right? So RA plus RC plus RA into RC by RB. In the same formula, use L in place of R for inductor, use 1 by C in place of R for capacitor. So the star delta concept is simple. From my experience, use star delta. If there are 100% of problems in networks, only 5% of problems in networks will use star delta transformation. The entire other will go with the help of theorems. Theorems are so powerful that you can solve any problem with the help of theorems, Thevenel and Norton equivalent circuits and Millman theorem and so on. So now relations over star delta over some golden statements. Now I will give certain scenarios. These are very very important. People will generally will not understand this. Say it is a branch. It is a branch having voltage source and resistor. It point A, point B. Resistance R, right? And they will ask you about find the amount of current I. It is voltage V. So how you can calculate the current I? The current I can be calculated. Remember, the current I can be calculated based upon voltage difference across resistor by resistor value, right? So we'll start from here. Voltage at this node, Vn1, voltage at this node Vn2. This problem is very important because in future when you wanted to solve about nodal equations, mesh equations and any theorems, this method is very much useful. To find a voltage at a particular node, start from that node, travel that node to neutral, right? So in this journey, Vn1 is equal to minus V plus Va. In this journey, Vn2 is equal to Vb. So current I is equal to minus V plus Va minus Vb by R. So now here you have learned how to calculate nodal voltage, and how to calculate a current in a branch. Now say for example you have a branch like this. So here what I am trying to explain is, if you have a current source in any branch, say for example you have a resistance R also, you have a current source in any branch, then the current in that branch is equal to the value of current source irrespective of any element in that branch. Means current source dominates in series, right? Yes. Say for example you have a voltage source like this V, and you have elements like this and current source and so on. Since you have a voltage source in one element, this voltage will be applied to all the parallel circuits. Similarly, the current source is the king in series branch, like voltage source in parallel branch, right? Yes. And now we will see basic notations which will be used in DC circuits. Say for example we have notation like this, 2Vx. It is called voltage controlled voltage source. How it has been written? Voltage controlled. Since the voltage of this is controlled by another voltage Vx, voltage control, and it is a voltage source, so voltage controlled voltage source. Now we will see the reverse. Say for example it is a voltage and the voltage here is some alpha into I beta. It is current controlled voltage source and is a current and 10 into Vx, right? Then it is voltage controlled current source, and similarly we have current control current source and so on. So these dependent sources will come into the picture in DC analysis, where a particular voltage source voltage is dependent upon some other element. For example, BJT is a dependent source. You all know about BJT. You will come to know about BJT in analog circuits. So this is for now the entire basics about series, parallel, RLC, star delta, and how to calculate a nodal voltage in a branch, how to calculate how to use voltage source in parallel circuits, and so on. One more thing. In next lecture we'll deal about mesh, nodal, DC circuit problems and symmetry problems, where we'll deal about parallel symmetry, perpendicular symmetry, right? In mesh we'll deal about super mesh, nodal we'll do about super node, So slowly the difficulty level will be increased. So be thorough with the basics so that you can solve difficult problems. And we are close with the ending note. While using mesh analysis, use mesh analysis to find current. Use nodal analysis to find voltage. If in question if they didn't mention which you should be used, mesh or nodal, in 99.99% of GATE examination questions they will not ask you to find out which method you should use, mesh or nodal. But in IES conventional questions you should solve the method they asked for. So use nodal for voltage to find voltage and use mesh to find out current, right? I will close this lecture with this. Please like and subscribe for faster upgrade, right? See you soon in the next lecture, in which we'll deal little more depth and details about network.